Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm Diane Davis, Deputy Chair of the Hololcaust Centre of New Zealand, and this is our final social justice forum as part of the Children's Holocaust Memorial. Our first forum addressed refugee rights, refugee experience in Aotearoa. Our second panel discussion looked at, more broadly, discrimination and prejudice in Aotearoa, and of course, our third panel discussion looks at disability rights. I'm very proud and very honoured that the Hololcaust Centre, in conjunction with the National Library of New Zealand, is hosting this very, very important forum.
Our society has a long history of excluding disabled people, and things are often slow to improve. But this exclusion has a dark history. New Zealand's 1880s immigration laws that targeted the Chinese people, they also excluded disabled people. The 1911 Mental Defectives Act classified groups of other into a hierarchy of idiots, imbeciles, and the feeble-minded. The school medical service sought out defective children to be sent to the appropriate institutions, and the 1914 Education Act made it obligatory for parents, teachers and police to report mentally defective children. This was because disability was seen by many at the time as an indication of the so-called deterioration of the race.
I was thinking about human rights. It made me think about whether or not it is actually a human right to work. I know it's something. Working has contributed hugely to my rehabilitation and to my well-being. I remember, so I've been in a wheelchair for 15 years after a fall when I broke my back. And I remember a year later I was driving to work. I'd been at work a few months in a career that I was, in a job that I was loving. And I remember being stuck in traffic and looking around, and there are all these really grim faces because it was Auckland and there was a lot of traffic. And but I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, here I am driving to work in my own car to a job that I love, and I never thought this was possible a year ago when I lost the ability to walk, because I'd never seen anybody doing, any disabled people working. So I really felt very weirdly lucky and privileged.
When the Nazis came to power in July of 1933, the law was created for the prevention of hereditary diseased offspring, allowing sterilisation for schizophrenia, epilepsy, Huntington's, chronic alcoholism, and other forms of social deviance. I asked the question in regards to the role of doctors. The Hippocratic Oath, which says to protect life, was not adhered to by these doctors. The dilemmas of the doctors, however, for most of them, was that they chose the state over the individual. They focused themselves on political ambitions than the life of the individual. The doctors felt that their medical careers played a crucial role in regards to Hitler's political agenda of the perfection of the human race.
A lot of people ask me about why I decided to work in fashion, considering that from the outside it's quite a idealistic industry to work in. And advertising, it does sell an ideal and it enhances people to look a certain way in order to sell a product. But when I went to Fashion Week and I met the people behind the scenes, these were people that felt like they didn't fit in either. And so they were creative as a result of that. So for me, working in fashion is a real opportunity to kind of use that cultural relevance that fashion has to shift the wider narrative around accessibility. If I can leverage the importance of fashion and leverage the impact that it has to talk about education and access to basic human rights for developing countries, if I can leverage that impact to talk about the fundamental things of accessibility, that's what we're aiming to do.
I think there are a lot of opportunities, but I think there's still a long way to go. I think we need to improve accessibility. If we want more disabled people in work, we need to improve access into workplaces. There are far too many people with disabilities out of work at the moment, and having that the ability to make some kind of contribution is essential to everybody's well-being, so everybody should be able to have that opportunity.